Brian, let's talk about the cost of Medicare premiums. First of all, let's talk about Medicare Part A. You don't pay anything for that, do you?
Right. If you've been paying into the system long enough, then you don't pay anything for Part A, and that's for hospital coverage.
Okay, so Part A is essentially free. If you haven't worked those 40 quarters or 10 years, you can still get Medicare Part A, but you do have to pay for it, right?
Yeah, it can be $500 a month, so it can be pretty expensive. So if you're new to the workforce, you or your spouse, maybe you moved here from another country, then you've got to pay into it for a period of time before it's free.
And generally it's 40 quarters or roughly 10 years in order for it to be free. Let's talk about Part B premiums. First of all, Part A only covers so much, but Part B covers the doctor's office visits, which is primarily, I think, what a lot of people are interested in. How much are Part B premiums?
Well, it can be pretty low. It can be nothing. It could be, generally it's under $200 a month. I will mention in Part A, there is a deductible. I was talking to a client recently, well, I've got Medicare, but gee, we go to the hospital every year for some underlying condition, and so that deductible might be roughly $1,600. But Part B, generally it's under $200 a month, but it can be much higher than that, depending on how much you make. And your deductibles are often 20% of the bill, and that's why you got to consider Medicare supplements.
So beyond Part A and Part B, a lot of people will opt for Part D as in dog or D as in drugs. That's what it is drug coverage. How much is that?
Yeah, that can be, again, it ranges $0 to $80 a month, depending on your income is a general range there.
And you mentioned Medicare supplement plans, and we are bombarded with advertisements for those during the open enrollment period. How much are supplement plans?
Well, yeah, they can be nothing. They can, often, again, under a couple $100 for a lot of people. But as your income goes up, it can be up to $600 a month. Now, it's still a bargain when compared to private insurance that's out there. I know because I cover my employees, so I know that the cost of for their insurance is much higher than that. But this would cover virtually everything that Part A and Part B don't cover.
It seems rather complex, all of the choices there. How do you make the right choice for you?
Yeah, I'd say when you're turning 65, before you turn 65, at least 4 months before, take a look into this, make sure you're lined up with the right Medicare supplement policy that you want, and find a specialist that you communicate well with, that they can explain this stuff in understandable terms. It can be very complicated, but it's one of the most important things you're going to need to take care of in your retirement is making sure you have the right, you have your Part A, you have your Part B, Part D, Medicare supplement or Med Advantage plan on top of that. And then finally, again, the one part that we don't cover here is long-term care, which is not covered by any of these plans up past 100 days.
Brian, can you give me an example of a client or someone who has gotten a surprise?
Yeah, because it's based on your income. I remember there was this person I knew that Social Security is all she got, and she sold a rental house and took that money and paid off her own house. But she was surprised to find out that she had high income for 1 year. So for a whole year, basically all of her Social Security check was going into her Medicare supplement payment. So she went from paying less than $300 a month to over $900 a month for a year, which was most of her income. So that was a kind of a surprise outcome. So if you're going to have high income in a given year, expect to have high premiums that following year.
And we might point out as well, too, that the payments can come out of your Social Security check. If you're not taking Social Security, you pay those just like any bill. Brian, thanks for telling us more about the cost of Medicare supplements.